The Blink, Malcolm Gladwell. The Power of Thinking Without Thinking. Blink. 6. The Power of the Balance. Since life is not an exotic gift, it's a central part of what it means to be human. We sensualize whenever we meet a new person or have to make sense of something quickly or encounter a novel situation. We sensualize because we have to, and we come to rely on that ability because there are lots of hidden pieces out there, lots of situations where careful attention to the details of a very sensualized, even for no more than a second or two, can tell us an awful lot. It's striking, for instance, how many different professions and disciplines have a word to describe the particular gift of reading deeply into the narrowest syllabus of experience. In basketball, the player who can take in and comprehend all that is happening around him or her is said to have court sense. In the military, brilliant generals are said to possess coup d'eau, which is translated from the French means power of the glance, the ability to immediately see and make sense of the battlefield. Napoleon had coup d'eau, so did Patton. The ornithologist David Sibeli says that in Cape May, New Jersey, he once spotted a bird in flight from 200 yards away and knew instantly that it was a ruff, a rare sandpiper. He had never seen a ruff in flight before, nor was the moment long enough for him and make a careful identification, but he was able to capture what birdwatchers call the bird's geese, its essence, and that was enough. Most of bird identification is based on sort of subjective impression. The way a bird moves a little instantaneously appearance in different angle and sequence of different appearance and its turns its head and as it flies and as it turns around you see sequence of different shapes and angles. Sibley says all that combines to create a unique impression of a bird that can't really be taken apart and described in words. When it comes down to being in the field and look at the bird, you don't take the time to analyze it and say it saw this, and this. Therefore, it must be this species is more natural and instinctive. After a lot of practice, you look at the bird and it triggers little switches in your brain. It looks right. You know what it's at a glance. The Hollywood producer Brian Grazer, who has produced many of the biggest hit movies in the past 20 years, used almost exactly the same language to describe the first time he met actor Tom Hanks. It was in 1983. Hanks was then a visual unknown. All he had done was the now justly forgotten TV show called Awesome Bodies. He came in and read for the movie Splash, and right there, in the moment, I can tell you just what I saw, Grazer said. In the first instant, he knew Hanks was special. We read thousands of people for that part, and other people were funnier than him, but they weren't as likable as him. I felt like I could live inside of him. I felt like his problems were problems I could relate to. You know, in order to make somebody laugh, you have to interesting. And in order to be interesting, you have to do things that are mean. Comedy comes out of anger, and interesting comes out of angry. Otherwise, there's no conflict. But he was able to be mean, and you forgave him, and you have to able to forgive somebody, because at the end of the day, you still have to be with him, even after he dumped the girl or made some choice that you don't agree. All of this wasn't thought out in word at the time. It was an intuitive conclusion that only later I could deconstruct. My guess is that many of you have the same impression of Tom Hanks. If I asked you what he was like, you would say that he is decent and trustworthy and down to earth and funny. But you don't know him. You are not friends with him. You've only seen him in the movies, playing a wide range of different characters. Nonetheless, you've managed to extract something very meaningful about him from those thin slices of experience. And this impression has a powerful impact on how you experience Tom Hanks movies. Everybody says that they couldn't see Tom Hanks as an astronaut. Grazer says of his decision to cast Hanks in the hit movie Apollo 13. Well, I didn't know whether Tom Hanks was an astronaut, but I watched this as a movie about a spacecraft in jeopardy. And who does the world want to get back the most? Who does America want to save? Tom Hanks. You don't want to see him die. You like him too much. If we couldn't synthesize, if we really had to know someone for months and months to get at their true selves, then Apollo 13 would be robbed of its drama and splash would not be funny. And if we could not make sense of complicated situations in a flash, basketball would be chaotic and bird watchers would be helpless. Not long ago, a group of psychologists reworked the divorce prediction test that I found so overwhelming. They took a number of customized couples video and showed them to non-expert. Only this time, they provide the raters with a little help. This gave them a list of emotions to look for. They broke the tapes into 30-second segments and allowed everyone to look at each segment twice. Once to focus at the man and once to focus on the woman. And what happened? This time around, the observers' ratings predicted it better than 80% accuracy, which marriages were going to make it. That's not quite as good as Gottman, but it's pretty impressive, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. We are old hands at scene slicing. You are old hands at scene slicing.